good. We're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube, which means...
Makeup with Stephanie.
Wow, Makeup with Stephanie is back.
Yeah.
Let's get deep down in the dark recesses of these.
And you know what? I want to give a little shout out to Carmen, the owner of Royal Glamour in Paris. She did my hair. It's looking on point. Now me and Roy are like twinning with our hair colors.
Wow.
He swears he doesn't dye it, but...
I didn't go to your whatever.
I mean, your hair...
Mine's the sunshine. Old Saul up there is the one that takes care of mine.
I wonder how... Nobody believes that, though. Anyways, today you picked Rose Petal to moisturizer and tint by Chapstick. Total hydration. Wow.
Well, that's great for today. Yeah. When it's 100 degrees out. I mean, all across all the Inland Empire deserts up in the valleys of L.A., we're all hitting triple digits today. It's supposed to calm down a little bit, but yeah.
It's really humid. I could feel like how I was saying the hurricanes, and there is a hurricane, so I
mean, it's like you're in
humid.
Kokomo, Indiana or something with the humidity out here.
That is like the most random spot you could have picked. I would have said Florida. Isn't Florida really humid?
Yes.
I want to go there.
It's pretty cool.
I hear some cool people.
Actually, the time to go to Florida, the time to go to Florida is in February.
Why?
Speed weeks are in February.
Oh, shut up.
They got racing is going on because everybody goes to Florida during February.
I thought this was Makeup with Stephanie and not Race Time with Roy.
Well, we just kind of said, well, you mentioned you want to go to Florida. So
that has nothing to do with the races.
Yes.
No.
February's... You've never been to the Daytona 500.
No, nope, probably will never go either.
You think Fontana's cool? Nothing compares to the Daytona.
No, I'm sure it's really cool. It's probably a great time too.
That's the biggest NASCAR race of the year is Daytona 500.
So I've heard. I wonder who I heard that from. Anyways, shout out to Carmen from Royal Glamour. Thanks for the hair.
Did a really good job.
Ladies and men out there that need a new hairstyle or to get a touch-up since we've been quarantining. Quarantined? Well, I was thinking quarantini, like a...
Quarantini.
Anyways, that's Friday. Go hit up Royal Glamour. She's located in Paris. Thanks, Carmen. That's all I got.
That's all you got.
That's all I got. He's acting like he's doing a bunch of stuff over here.
Guitar music comes on every day live at 5. You got me tongue-tied over here with that look on that.
Well, I don't know what you're saying. We're going in like slow as a snail over here.
Yeah, well, I kind of started a little early in the fade down, so I was kind of slowing the cadence down a little bit on that. And seems like every little thing freaks you out for some reason on that.
I've been locked up for way too long, and the world has gone mad, and I'm losing it a little bit, all right? Don't judge me. That's all.
It was, it's always the neat little things that come across during the day, or you walk in. So, walked up and shut the studio up, walked in we have a little offshoot office here off the studio. We kind of keep, we keep cool on that. And I walked in and I said, man, something smells like it died in here.
So bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to act like everything's fine.
Yeah.
And we're happy, and it's not.
Yeah, and it's the smell.
Like at all.
Yeah, it is kind of, it seems to me like it's dissipating.
No, we're just getting used to it.
No, we're getting used to it, yeah. Something either in there crawled in there or died or something.
We think our producer planted something somewhere, and he's just not telling us.
Yes,
because he's acting like he don't smell it.
Jesse was the first one in there.
Taste it.
Yeah. He's the first one in there, comes walking out like nothing's did. And I go in there to do that because he always turns the temperature down, which I tell him there's no sense in doing that. It's not going to do any good because but I guess it makes him feel better. And then I have to come in the next day and reset everything. But that's just one of those little quirks. He doesn't.
So if I start gagging randomly out of nowhere.
But what was weird, I mean, amongst it, I can't hear, I can't smell worth the beans anyway. So if there's a smell or something going on, it's usually pretty pronounced. And I mean, I opened the door and I said, "Man, what died in here?" And Junior's over here like, "No, I didn't smell nothing."
Junior.
And I mean, I bet you as soon as I opened the door, and you're probably about 15 feet away, you were like going.
I was
on that
choking on the stench. Anyway,
I don't know. Probably a rat or a mouse or something died, or a cat dragged it in or something. They're famous for doing that. And then,
are we ever gonna get rid of it?
Well, that's why I was in there looking for it, and then you're getting mad that I'm in there looking for whatever's died.
This is weak. I mean,
It's got kind of a fishy.
It goes. It's like 2020.
It was that fish video.
It smells
you
like
played.
2020.
Yeah, dead, gone, and all that. The chaos of that. We're looking for it, and we do have one report on that to get back on a serious note of what's going on. Here's one thing, and hitting a number 4 on that. It was happened just about a half hour ago down on a Balboa Boulevard in Newport. I guess starting about noon or so, they had a protest going on. But I guess somebody in a Mini Cooper, I heard it was this thread, and this by Danny Sullivan. I don't think it was the Indy 500 winner, but Danny Sullivan posted this on Twitter. Someone in a Mini, and I heard on other ports it was a Mini Cooper, a white Mini Cooper, blew through the crowd on Balboa Boulevard in Newport Beach. No one hurt, but scared. Can't tell if person intended or likely just freaked. Newport Beach PD are after them. They're headed down the peninsula, so you can't get off on that. But here we go with they're trying to keep from cracking up from these two over here. But no, it was, and there were some reports, some kids. There were some kids on some bicycles, and they hit the Mini Cooper, I guess, hit the bicycles, and there were some really startled children, but it did not appear there was any, or nobody was reporting any serious injuries. There were about half a dozen or so people that were injured in that. But again, I think you hit on it like you talked about earlier. I mean, people have been cooped up. They're stir crazy. Now that they're
really I'm losing my damn mind.
Now that they're allowed to
go out.
And
I have things to keep me busy. Imagine people that don't have things to keep them busy or is trying to teach their kids at home while doing a full-time job.
Yes.
That I can't anymore.
But no, I mean, I think it is, and they're doing that, and I think we're gonna, it goes back to some of the, we ran the article or the Bay Area report that suicides are up.
Yeah.
Deaths in emergency rooms are up around all over the place, and just all the stuff of.
But what happened to COVID? Does it not exist anymore?
Exactly.
I saw a post somewhere. Are we supposed to still shelter in place? Are we supposed to wear masks? Are things open? Are we doing what the hell is going on?
Where's all the, and go back to let's see if we can go back to the crowd shot on that. Are you done? Or that? Yeah. And this is but pick me up some of these big crowds that are going on. I think we got a live shot of the protesters somewhere on here on the enchilada that I'm trying to find of the video of down there. But yeah, we're going to all the.
It doesn't make
that's
any
not
sense.
it. But there's all these thousands of protesters out there. They're down in downtown LA today, going on. Yes, here it is. Here it is on. This was a live shot on ABC 7 of that earlier. You're seeing them down in downtown LA. Give me the shot of that. Yes, and we don't have a close up on it, but all these protests and everything going on. Tell me where the social distancing is going on here.
Right.
Nobody wearing any masks with all this stuff on. Now, again, Where is the dominant media that we heard for almost 2 months, or our politicians with the social shaming over not wearing your mask, no social distancing, no this, no that, treating us like we're 2-year-olds, all over the place on this stuff. And now, all of a sudden, it's like, well, we're doing the protests of George Floyd's death, and all that stuff just went away. Well, what are we going to do? Just go ollie ollie oxen on the whole, again, yeah, did the whole COVID threat just all of a sudden go poof, which was never there for 99.4% of us, or about whatever the deal is, it was never there. We had the vast majority of the population of the United States or the Earth, whether you count the 330 million or 7 billion on this Earth, did not have any worry or threat of coronavirus. People very elderly with underlying health conditions in nursing homes, maybe if you were very obese, and a very, very thin, small part of the population, yeah, it was a big deal. And so we went through the 2 months of that, and like we had Tom Del Beccaro on yesterday, it's really, we're trying to look for it. I found some video footage of citizens patrolling their streets in their business district, looked like the downtown area. I think it was around Washington, but the video went away. They were patrolling their streets up and down armed, and they were, because there was a supposed threat coming in from Spokane, Washington. And it looked like a middle-sized town or so of that you would see in anywhere USA. And they're up and down patrolling the streets with guns. And you know what? There was no looting going on. There was no threats. There was no violence.
Right.
There was no nothing. It was like every day. Guys were standing out there up and down the street with guns. Nobody was having any. Nobody was concerned about it. No protesting. Which gets me to the deal. Which Karen Spiegel, supervisor from the 1st District in Riverside County, which is basically the east end of Riverside, Corona, Norco area in that, was the former John Tavallone seat. She mentioned it at the Board of Supervisors meeting about these protesters that are being piped in from other areas and stuff of that. And the whole
I heard somewhere today that in the city, not Santa Barbara, was it Santa Barbara that was getting hit really hard? 90% of them weren't even residents?
Yeah. We had the deal, the bricks that were just all of a sudden, pallets of bricks are just showing up in these areas. So now you're driving out of your way
to destroy a city that you don't even live in, which, I mean, if you're going to destroy your own city. That way, when you need to go to the store, you no longer can because you want to be mad. It goes to the Black Lives Matters and stuff, and George Soros, and a lot of that. And I mean, I stayed off of most of the tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff and just kind of, but now they're starting to put the connections together on all this stuff, and maybe there is, because I was listening to the radio today of the aforementioned where we had the picture from downtown LA where there looked like there were thousands down there protesting into the downtown area. And they're interviewing one guy. Oh yeah, I came in from Atlanta, Georgia. There's no protest going on with that and that, and you're seeing this all that. It's just like that, and I wish we could find the. Here we go. Oh, they have the. Go to that. Just go to that. This is some Fox News 11 footage. It looks like they have the Mini Cooper. There on that, so it says car careens through protesters in Newport Beach. So it looks like the police officers in Newport Beach have apprehended the person who plowed through the deal on that. See, you're getting all the breaking news that you don't get anywhere else. Kevin writes in, did you hear about the guy in Upland that pulled out an AR-15 on protesters? I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, that was the other day. I think we had it on the other day. They did arrest him. That he did that.
Yeah, he said he was arrested. Carla writes in, I am all for exercising your First Amendment, but looting needs to stop. I'm so over it, and we don't need curfews.
There is nothing greater than that, and I will say that, and I'm not 100% opposed to like they did in Riverside County. They did the 1-day one. I understand that if there is a threat of that, because if they put a curfew on there,
makes sense.
They can detain you if you're out at that time and ask you questions, what you're doing, yada, yada, yada. I think this is why everybody is on edge of it, because of the whole coronavirus, stay-at-home orders, lockdown, everything else.
Right.
Well, okay, if they would have done the coronavirus thing as, a week or two, maybe 3 at the maximum or stuff, and then eased it off or whatever, I think people would understand. But, to go on for, 2 to 3 months now, and we're still dealing with this stuff, and it's very obvious at this point, is if, why aren't they arresting all these, why aren't they arresting the thousands that are down there in L.A. or whatever on the, for not abiding by the stay-at-home orders or whatever. This is how ridiculous, or not social distancing or masks or anything else. This is what's so ridiculous about this, and that's why I say now people are on edge, because now here comes this situation, and a day or two there's a threat on that, and I think as long as police officers don't abuse the deal, if you're driving around, I don't think they were pulling people over just randomly during these curfews over there, and doing that. But if they suspect something or something's going on, or want to question you or ask you what you're doing out at this particular time, that when there is a, when we have a, when there is a credible threat or something going on like that is reasonable. But that's what, that to me is what the danger is of, one of the big dangers of the whole coronavirus situation is you get into the boy that cried wolf scenario, where now everybody's thinking that there's a conspiracy or something, or there's something evil intent by everything that's going on, because we've been screwed over so long on this whole deal here. Right?
I totally agree. Completely agree, and I'm listening to everything you're saying. Kevin puts, at least it's just a curfew and not a stay-at-home order.
Yes, and again, it was a reasonable response, and I understand why they did it. Not that it was.
I do. I really do.
On that particular day, there was a credible threat, and I understand the ones down in L.A. That where they're continuing to have that kind of problem going on. They do need to. It was their mistake of not controlling the stuff in the initial, and now it's gotten out of hand. Now they have a big, humongous problem on there that they're going to have to deal with, of all this stuff going on. But that's why I say this is an offshoot of what happens when you are not honest with the people.
Right.
And again, like with the whole deal with coronavirus, of that, and this the George Floyd situation, the protests. In the beginning, like with coronavirus, okay, this is a situation, we're a little unsure on this, of what's going on. We're asking you to maybe wear masks or social distance for a week or two while we figure this out. Okay, we figured it out. We know where the problem is. Okay, now we can start returning back to the way it is. We know what we got to work with, so that would have been fine. Then if this situation would have came, but now that they drug that one out when they know darn well of doing that. I mean, what amazes me is, like, I was down to Soup's on Tuesday morning, giving my little 3-minute or 2-minute. We got to have a talk about that, because there weren't that many speakers. I don't know why they're cutting us to 2 minutes when we should have got 3. But
anyways,
but I thought, I thought I'd throw that in there, but
Yeah, well, you did.
but when you do that, but I noticed Karen Spiegel was the third supervisor to finally take the mask off or not wear it during the deal. But as they're finding out, and when I said my little funny piece to them that when wearing a mask causes a shortage of oxygen to your brain, which it does, and plus you're breathing, all that bacteria is congregating in there.
That's why I don't want my kids to wear
yes,
them,
and you're breathing
for a long time.
And they had a one lady reported, well, her daughter was like 19 and that she got she was just started a job and was just feeling bad, because they're making her wear a mask all day.
Right.
And she got what's called, I think it's called pleurisy, but it's from breathing in the bacteria, that and stuff. And now she's at home, no pay of that because of which I don't know how they're doing that, but whatever, And this stuff is going to go. I mean, if they're going to come back and like at the schools and everybody's got to wear a mask and all this stuff, and they still keep insisting on that. I mean, Manny Perez.
Kids don't deserve that.
That yes,
I think that's when they need to leave it up to parents. Do you want your child going out on the playground? Do you want your child in close contact with other students? Let the parents decide that. Why are they letting I don't know. Don't you agree? So you agree with me.
Yes, exactly. This is the way the school is. If you don't want your kid to go to this school, find one that you homeschool them. Now that you know how all this stuff works, and we've test piloted on a.
I don't want to do homeschool
on a statewide base. Well, you're probably going to anyway.
I love my kids. I really do. It's not them. It's me. I feel like I'm letting my kids down at this point now. Because I can't teach them in the way they need to be taught. And I don't need to add that extra burden. Not that it's a burden, but that extra, negative to me already. What? Why are you giving me the finger?
No, I'm doing it because I'm giving.
Oh, I was like, dang, all right.
No, I'm not.
But I feel like I'm letting my kids down.
That's a producer I'm pointing at.
No, you pointed right at me.
That's
my whole point now.
Of the.
Thank you, Doris. I hope you're doing
no, it is,
and all of our other viewers.
It's part of the lexicon that's going out there. Go ahead, you can look. I couldn't find what I was looking for, but it's part of the lexicon of what's going on all across the nation, and we're it boggles my mind that how we could go from coronavirus to just right into this, yeah. I mean,
and we didn't even touch the freaking killer hornets. Where the hell did those go?
Yeah,
are they gone now?
Yeah, so the killer. Yeah,
did they retract them and take them back?
Yes, they all. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe they all got coronavirus and died. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Who knows?
But that's what the silly. It's kind of the silliness of what goes on in this whole stuff that's that we do every day because. Man, we're just getting assaulted. It seems like everywhere on this. But why can't they do? It's to me, it's very simple. It's the strategy is very simple of that, and that's why I wanted to show that tape. Hopefully, we'll find it or it will resurface again. That what? That's why the Second Amendment is no more demonstrated than what that tape does. And the Second Amendment, as I keep saying, has nothing to do with hunting or anything else. It has to do with two things, protecting you and your family and to protect you from a tyrannical government. And that's what they were doing in both cases with that because, now they're so we got one in Moreno Valley now again.
No curfew.
Oh, no. Okay, that was last night. Oh, so they rescinded the one for tonight. So in Moreno Valley, the 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew tonight that was scheduled has been lifted. So that's good news on that.
There's been a lot more fireworks going on too. I don't know if everybody else has heard it or not.
Oh yeah, they're
this 4th of July is going to be amazing.
Yes, That's what I say with all the stuff going on in that.
Yeah.
It's going to be people.
So Riverside was saying how they might put on a fireworks show. Have we heard any more about that? I know Menifee was doing it the Saturday before.
I think they were. I haven't got it. You might check the press enterprise of that. They were gonna review that at the council meeting yesterday, but I didn't.
Moreno Valley got rid of their fireworks show last I heard, but they might be bringing it back.
That's what they were talking about.
But I think they were going to do it, not have like the family fun fest like they normally do, but maybe just like watch it from your car or something. Which.
Ridiculous.
What's the point?
Yes.
I mean, it's cool if you want to go and drive over there. But I think that's just going to cause more drinking and driving, a lot more illegal fireworks. But you know what? Honestly, I hope that day, though, that everybody can just get along, have fun, be safe and sane if you do have your fireworks, and just enjoy it. And not, like, fight or, like, try to shoot it at somebody else or anything like that. Don't put anything in your mouth. That's a bad idea.
Tell us how that worked out.
Susan from Herb Valley writes, said no fireworks shows. I think that's what she means.
Yeah, again, why don't we just cancel 2020?
I think we should. I think, honestly, we'll all just be better off.
Yes.
If we just say, you know what, screw it, this year's just done. And let's have, like, you know what'd be cool, though?
What?
If, like, the world kind of gets back together and we're all, like, happy again and, like, human, that we should do, like, a New Year's, but, like, in June. Like a new year in June. That'd be cool. Right?
It would, but I mean, the odds of that, I think this is
I think we
June,
should put
but-
that. All right, we'll go July. We're in June already? Crap. See what I mean? I've been locked up for way too long. What is today? Oh, today's June 3rd. Crap.
Oh, I wanted to see how far you were going to go with that.
Thank you. Anyways, so end of June. I think we need to put that together. Let's get Facebook group. Someone put it together. We're doing a new year.
That first law of holes is the law of holes is so simple.
I'm never gonna get it.
But yes, it's such a hard concept for people to understand.
You don't think? I think that's a great idea. Let's start fresh.
That's what we should do. We should
Let's start fresh.
July
1st, it's a new year.
No, yeah.
I'm putting my foot down.
Yeah,
it's happening.
we should start it with July 4th. Bring back the fireworks.
Let's
Everything's
do it.
everything's back to the way it was.
We're coming together as a community and a nation as one, an all human race. There's no race but the human race.
Yes.
And our animals, because we love them.
Yes, we should start at July or starting.
We're doing it. Can we do it?
Yes.
High five in air. No, don't touch me.
Okay. See, now get back to the, because we got to do the, yes, now if we're getting back to normal, we got to get back to normal.
Do you have hand sanitizer? Just kidding. I know you got some.
We're in a studio that smells like dead fish, and she's worried about hand sanitizer.
Hey, I mean.
No, it is. We should.
We're doing it. I'm excited.
Yeah, we should say the first half of the year we're just wiping that out. It was just total nonsense of that. We're sorry. We're pushing on July 1st. We're pushing the reset button.
I thought we were doing 4th of July.
Well, yeah.
You got to make up your mind.
Well, we'll start with July 1st. We'll press the reset button, and July 4th will be the normal celebration that we always have on July 4th of fireworks, picnics, celebrating America, the birth of our country, and all the things
Brandon
that we
writes
do
in, the world will never be happy. Negative thoughts like that. Stop it. July 1st, you need to be happy.
Hey guys, 1 minute.
Hi Sean. Hey, we're gonna have a big New Year's party on July 1st. Do you want to come? We're starting it. We're starting a new year. July 1st.
Yeah.
2020.5. I
Yes.
love it.
Yes, that's good. 2020.5.
You're invited.
Yes, that we're canceling out the first half of the year.
We are.
We're just forgetting about it.
We're starting over.
Yeah, when June 30th comes, we're just wiping this whole thing off the books as a bad memory.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
We're all waking up. It was a joke.
Yes. The Groundhog Day, the movie is over. The bad stuff that's happening is not going to repeat anymore. And
That's all good and that's all good, but you better tell the Democrats that.
Sean,
30 seconds, guys.
Stop. Stephen writes.
All right, guys, here we go.
And download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on the Mighty Met KMET. And we're joining into that where you can hear us all across the AM dial, across the Inland Empire, and join all the folks that have been tuning to us on IE Newswire on Facebook and YouTube on a Wicked Wednesday.
You know what I just realized?
What?
We didn't intro our
Yes, well, I think it's that dead fish smell in the studio that got everything kind of discombobulated there on that. Yeah, something stinking in here, or something that, or our producer's playing a very terrible joke on us. Yeah.
I know where you live. All right. So will everybody else.
Of that, he's the only one that doesn't smell it. So whatever he has done, he has the antidote.
Evil.
For whatever is going on in here.
Tell them about our big party idea.
Yes, we just in the first half hour. For those of you who did not,
I'm really excited about this one. I'm pumped.
We are at the end of June 30th. We are canceling out the first half of 2020 like it didn't exist.
Yep, it was a bad dream.
Yes, it was a bad dream. Nothing's going on. We are starting July 1st. It's going to be 2020.5 of that. And we are going to have a normal 4th of July celebration, celebrating Independence Day, fireworks, barbecues, family celebrations.
Picnics, watermelon, fruit.
All the whole thing.
Are we allowed to have beer?
Yes.
Beer.
Everything. There's no restrictions, no nothing. It's going. We're wiping.
Yes, there is a restriction. The only restriction is no negativity and no attitude, or
yes.
you're gone.
Of the whole.
So you're gonna be gone in like 5 minutes. You're not lasting long.
I'm the only positive person I think left on this planet, of that. And look at who deals. Look at all the people that deal in the negativity and stuff of that. If you've noticed of this stuff. I have not put very little of, just to illustrate the points, but I put very little of the protesting stuff other than the first part, and we'll cover that a little bit. Apparently down on Balboa Peninsula in Newport Beach, somebody in a Mini Cooper ran through the big crowd of the protests in there and injured a few folks, but nobody seriously. It hurts, and it looks like Huntington Beach PD have the man or woman or whoever, the driver of the car, I guess I should say, of the Mini Cooper, in custody on that, and we'll figure out. But fortunately, nobody was hurt. But it goes like we were talking about earlier. I mean, I think people being so cooped up like hamsters in a cage in this whole deal, and now that they are out and doing all this stuff, the people are just prone to going crazy. And part of the thing that I see with this, and we talked about a little bit earlier, is I think it just with the George Floyd situation and that, I think it was ripe. That was just the spark that erupted the worldwide raging fire we have going on now with the protests and the looting and everybody just in a lot of cases losing their collective minds over this thing. Because we were put first in the COVID-19 situation that was 98.7% of it, and I'm probably being very generous, so that was not necessary.
Right.
And then this happens, and everybody's on edge, and we're dealing with that. It's like we went from the frying pan into the fire. But as we usually do once a week, we're going to bring in one of our very valuable guests that we've had on for many, many years. She's the editorial writer, columnist in the Press Enterprise, San Bernardino Sun, Redlands Daily Facts, Inland Daily Bulletin, and many, many, many other newspapers around Southern California, but more important, in my mind, Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. Susan Shelley, welcome to IE Newswire Daily with Stephanie and Roy.
Well, thank you. Hi, Roy. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey.
Great to be with you.
Just
Great to have you on here.
yes, because
As always.
yes, the postscript to that is Stephanie is thinking she doesn't have to listen to Roy so much when Susan Shelley
I
is
was
on.
just trying to not say it because I wanted to be nice, but yeah, that's totally
When
what I
were
was
you
thinking.
ever nice?
I don't, because this 2020.5 thing is getting me excited. I want to be happy and positive. I'm really excited about this.
What do you think about that idea, Susan? We're at June 30th. We are going to wipe out the first half of the year.
Gone.
At July 1st. We're going to start at 2020.5. We're going to have a new year. We're going to have a New Year's 20.5 celebration.
New Year / Independence
Yeah,
Day.
4th of July is going to be like normal, fireworks, Independence Day, picnics with the family, drinking beer and eating hot dogs or whatever.
I'm all for it. I'm on board with that. I'm marking my calendar. New Year's Day, July 1st. Let's start over.
Yes, I mean, it's kind of a humorous way to do that, but maybe that's something that we really need to start doing because, man, the first half of this year has just been one disaster after another.
Well, I'm starting to get concerned because there are so many pieces of legislation, that's a polite term for them, going around in Sacramento that talk about, oh, yes, we're going to do this 12 months after the end of the emergency, and they don't say when the emergency is going to end. Things with deadlines, oh, yes, you don't have to do this or that until 8 months after the end of the emergency. Well, enough with the emergency. This is crazy that the governor has emergency powers. He issued 2 more proclamations today regarding the November election. This is the first week of June. And he's saying that he has to limit the number of polling places in the November election. But this is just alarming, really, because messing with the election, messing with how the votes are cast and counted, this is serious stuff. And there will be things on the ballot that raise taxes, change the Constitution, that there will be congressional elections decided, and state elections decided, and local elections. This is very serious stuff, and we're just winging it with executive orders changing the electoral process. I'm really getting concerned about this.
Yes, I mean, what I think what, and probably maybe why 2020.5 really needs to go. I mean, it sounds like they're setting us up for this is going to be going on. Who knows, forever. I mean,
Forever.
Yeah, I mean, what threat to the general population or the vast majority or 99.7% of the population in California is there going to be over coronavirus in November? And if there is one, then we'll deal with that. But at this point, what you're just like, why don't they just stop all this and just declare him king, just declare Gavin Newsom king, and let's be done with it?
We're effectively there, because what they're threatening to do, not just in the statewide government, but in various counties, they're just threatening to impose this whenever they feel like it, based on what they think is a threat. And how do they determine what's a threat? Well, they're using computer models, and the computer models have been entirely wrong. So you can make a computer model sit up and spit peanuts. It'll give you any numbers you want, depending on what you put into it as an assumption, and what you put into it as data. It'll come up with whatever you want. And they are saying that they reserve the right to reimpose lockdowns, to reimpose restrictions, to limit the capacity of businesses, and do curfews and whatever else they want based on predictions of dire circumstances. This cannot be legal. This can't be constitutional. It's one thing if you actually have an emergency, if you have an earthquake, if you have a wildfire, if you have a flood, you can see that this has happened. You can evaluate what's needed. There's a period of time that you can use extra powers to make sure that everybody's safe, but not forever. and not on a recurring basis. Oh, we think it's earthquake season, we're due, and we're going to shut everybody in their houses, stand in a doorway for the next 6 months. Is that legal? I mean, it's an absurd example, but it's the same contention, that they find a potential risk, declare it an emergency, and issue orders that are otherwise a total violation of your rights. People should be in the streets over that.
Yeah, if we were protesting, which we were, of that, and we can get into the difference between the protests from the people that wanted to, from those who were saying open up California versus what's going on now. But my analogy of what's going on, okay, we've had the wildfires, the past few years and state of emergency on that, or earthquakes or any of those other things. It would be like, okay, while, summertime, hot, fuel up, wildfires, we have that, okay, and we have the mass ones that we've had in LA area and that the past couple of years. Okay, we got a disaster, emergency orders, da-da-da-da. Well, let's just continue these emergency orders for the next 12 months because fire season will come back in the next summertime of the next year, so we just have to declare what essentially they're doing is declaring a 24/7, 365 state of emergency, which goes back to me. Well, why don't we forget that? Let's throw out the California Constitution and all our laws, cities and everything else, and just make Gavin Newsom king, and we'll be done with it.
And you know what? If you want to think this through all the way through the calendar to the rest of the year, we're going to come into wildfire season. We're going to have the October Santa Ana winds, and maybe PG&E is going to want to turn off the electricity, and maybe Edison is going to want to turn off the power for safety. So now you're locked in your home. All the food in your refrigerator that you've waited in line to buy is spoiling because your power is out, and you're sitting in your hot house with no air conditioning and battery-operated lights in an emergency in a curfew. Really? This is like the end of civilization. We have to replace the entire state government and all the local governments if they think this is acceptable, because this is not what we pay their salaries to do to us.
Exactly.
Very true.
Again, you can see the setup coming across this whole deal, at least from my perspective of this, is the way they're going about it. Yeah, there is no reasonable expectation for emergency order anything on coronavirus. They all should be rescinded of the whole thing. They shouldn't even be talking about it. We shouldn't even be talking about redoing our elections because of coronavirus. No, that's
stupid.
That's not the reason they're doing it.
Doris writes in, this mail-in ballot is a very serious detrimental plan, another way to alter our freedom.
And that kind
Very
of dovetails in with your column this week about you did write this week on elections and all the stuff, and I know you've been on top of that for not only for many years on that, pointing out this. Susan, explain to them why going to the them basically almost forcing us to go to the all mail-in ballot is not a good idea.
Well, it's not a good idea because even though voting by mail is convenient, everybody can get a vote by mail ballot just by asking for one. And if you don't want to be bothered asking for one for every election, you can become a permanent vote by mail voter, and they'll mail it to you automatically. What we don't do in this state so far is mail ballots to people who haven't asked for them. And the reason we don't do that is because they're very bad in all 58 counties about updating the voter rolls. So people move, people pass away. People are on the voter rolls with duplicate names, and they don't even know it. The one with a middle initial, one without. They don't even know they're registered twice. The active voters get a ballot. The inactive voters are not supposed to get a ballot. It's just asking for trouble to mail a ballot to every registered voter, whether they asked for one or not. Because according to the Election Integrity Project California, their data analysts found 480-some thousand active voters who have either died or moved, haven't voted since 2008, and should be removed from the rolls as inactive. But they're still showing up as active, which means every single one of them will get a ballot. Now you've got ballots in mailboxes, you've got ballots showing up all over the place. It wouldn't take much organization for someone with ill intent to scoop them up and vote them and send them in. Maybe some will be declared as not a signature match, but you know what? If you've got 20 million mail-in ballots coming in, I don't know how carefully the county is going to be able to check each and every one of those. Which also means that they could be disallowing valid ballots because however they're going to determine whether the signatures match, a certain percentage of them won't match, and then what? So what the governor declared today is every county must use this ballot tracking system. So now what they're asking voters to do is take their vote-by-mail ballot, which will come to them in early October, before they've heard all the arguments or read all the materials that are going to be available before November 3rd, and they're going to be asked to vote, and maybe they'll lose their vote-by-mail ballot before they remember that it's time to vote. Who knows how people are going to handle this? If they've never asked for a mail ballot before, we don't really know what's going to happen. There will be fewer polling places. There will be tons of paper coming into all the county offices, tons more than usual, as people vote by mail in greater numbers. It's just a mess. And if you want to verify one of the elections, for example, in Long Beach in March, there was a sales tax extension that passed. It staged a wild come-from-behind victory as they counted the votes for a month, and it passed by 16 votes. And a group in Long Beach asked for a recount. And the recount cost was supposed to be $5,000 to $8,000 a day. It's supposed to take about 3 days. Well, that's a lot of money to come up with, but they raised the money, and they went in for the recount, and the county says the night before the recount, oh, we're wrong. It's actually going to cost you like $200,000 for this recount because all the ballots are unsorted. All the paper ballots are in boxes, and they're not sorted by precinct anymore because they weren't voted at a precinct and put in a box. They were voted in vote centers, and they were scanned as they came in, and the paper is unretrievable unless you have teams of county workers spend 2 or 3 weeks going through the boxes to find them. So to recount this one sales tax race in Long Beach would be like $200,000. And if you request the recount, you're the one that has to pay for it. So it's impossible to verify that these results are accurate. You're doing vote by mail, it's being scanned, the computers are tallying the optical scans, not the paper ballots. The computer tallies the scans. If there's a stray mark or there's an artifact from the optical scanner, the ballot can be rejected. It's an overvote, it's an undervote, it's incorrectly read. And there's no way to verify the accuracy of that count because they can't sort the ballots by precinct the way the law requires them to do for the 1% manual tally that's part of the law and has always been part of the law in California. That's not recent. You have to do, with any electronic voting device, you have to do a tally of 1% of the precincts by hand and check to make sure that it matches the computer. So you can't even do that.
So yeah, and in an honest election, in an honest mail-in ballot, and it has been for, up until recently, this would favor the center-right older voter because here's the one reason. In a mail-in ballot, grandma is most likely to know where the stamps are, the envelopes are. Most under 30-year-olds don't even know what a stamp or an envelope is of that, much less to get them in there. But this is why, and that's why I let you explain this, because this is why. A lot of you, I'm sure, have heard of ballot harvesting. This is what they have been doing. You know, Democrats and Republicans, I have said, have been stupid. They should have been playing the game too, but they didn't. This is one of the reasons why you've got we've swung way to the center of the left over what the population is, even in California, of that, because they played the game. It was, they made it legal. So, yeah. And then they cash, as Susan explained, they cash register Justice you out of the system. Oh, well, you want a recount? Well, your name better be Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. To afford a recount, we'll just make it so expensive that, so you can't get a recount of that, an honest deal of that, where 16 votes could have went either way on that deal. And as chaotic as the system is, it probably would have exposed the deal. That's probably why they said, oh, well, wait a minute. Oh,
right. How
much do we got to figure we got to jack this thing up to so they won't do this and this, because this is going to make us look stupid over here?
Exactly. Well, the good news is the Long Beach recount is happening in L.A. County, and the Long Beach group has filed a lawsuit against L.A. County saying that they must have an affordable recount at the posted prices that are in the handbook that they published this year. They must have a recount of the paper ballots, and it must be on the county to retrieve the paper ballots. That's part of the cost of running the election that the county has to pay. So if they win this lawsuit, it will establish in law that the counties can't do this. They can't do the cash register out trick on people. They'll have to sort the ballots and make them available for the legally required mandatory 1% tally and the recount, the possibility of the recount. It's really no good for them to keep telling us, don't worry about the electronic voting because we have a paper record, if no one can see the paper record when there's a question. It's a phony guarantee.
Exactly.
And I'm happy to say that that lawsuit is going forward. It's already been filed, and we're waiting on the county to respond to it. I don't know how long it's going to take them. I think they have 30 days. They'll probably use every minute of it to figure out what they're going to say. But they don't respond to public records requests, and they're very unhelpful when a question is raised about election integrity. They just snap that there's no evidence. There's no evidence of voter fraud, but they won't let anyone collect any evidence. And when you have a question about a vulnerability, they won't answer it.
There you go. Yeah, I wonder.
This has to be fixed.
I wonder at this point. I wonder how many ballots of us systematically been shredded, removed. We probably knew they were in deep trouble if they were going to get a recount on this thing, so they were just buying time to figure a way out of this whole mess.
I think you're exactly right about that. And something that's in this new bill that just passed in the Senate Elections Committee, I voted 4-1, 4 Democrats to 1 Republican. This bill would require the counties to allow every voter to use remote access vote by mail. Now, what's that? This is one of the new voting technologies. The system comes from, I think the company is called Dominion Voting. It's one of the election technology companies. And it allows people from their home computer to access their ballot for their precinct and vote online and print on their own printer a paper ballot of their choices.
No.
And verify it and look at verify it and look at it and okay. And then now you're laughing, it gets worse. They mail this piece of paper that they printed on their home computer, they mail this piece of paper into the county, and the county officials copy it over into an official ballot manually. Okay?
No.
This is currently, yes.
No.
And then supposedly the original piece of paper and the official ballot are stapled together and stored for an audit, which of course will be $200,000 if you ever ask to see it. So this is so vulnerable to fraud. Let's just count the ways. First of all, if there's a programming hack, the ballot that comes up on the screen might have a missing race. I mean, what if you decided you didn't want a whole lot of turnout in a particular race, and it was hacked so that when this came up, it wasn't there? How many people are going to notice if some local office, for instance, or some minor ballot initiative that no one paid attention to at the county level, how many people are going to notice if it's missing from their ballot? Really? I mean, no one. Most people don't even know there's so many offices and there's so many ballot measures, and people are so confused by the time they vote, especially in November. Who knows if they would catch it? So that's one way to hack it. And then people print it and mail it in, and now you could hack it with the people who are copying over the printout to a real ballot. There's no end to the mistakes that could be made, even without malicious intent. Then it's scanned. The hand-marked remade ballot is scanned, and it's the optical scan that's tallied by a separate computer. So if it's read incorrectly because there's a stray mark or whatever, it's going to show overvote, undervote, incorrect. And there's no way to check it. There's no way to find it. There's no way to fix it. If it all goes horribly wrong, there's no way to vote in the election later and change the results. The only way to do it is to challenge the whole thing in a very costly lawsuit, which is very difficult to win. An election challenge lawsuit is very difficult. This is chaos.
It is 100%.
It's insane. And I'm so glad that you came on to explain that, because if Roy did, I probably wouldn't believe a word of it.
Yes.
But when Susan says it,
yes, that's why I have you on, because
I know
it doesn't behoove me to explain it, because
it really doesn't.
Yes. But I mean, one last, we got about a minute left, but a couple things struck my mind. Why don't we just get out the crayons and paper and just write vote Democrat on there? This reminds me of the Crook County, the old voting machines. You just pulled the lever and it punched out all the Democrat names and you went home. I mean, what if this is the way it is? Or Hugo Chavez winning by 141% or whatever the number is on that. But I give you about a minute left to wrap it up and plug your great organization.
Well, first I have to tell you that the company that made the voting machines for the Hugo Chavez election is the one that made the voting machines for Cal's Fort Los Angeles
Thank
County.
you.
So there you go, Smartmatic. They're there when you need an election messed up. They're there for you. So this year we have stuff coming for the November ballot that is coming for your money. So you must join the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association and stay alert on what is on the ballot and how to vote if you care about taxes. The split roll property tax increase, which is qualified now for the November ballot, would revoke Proposition 13 from business properties. And once they do that, you know who's next. When they don't raise they'll want still more money. You know who they're coming after they do the businesses. So we must stop this. We must protect Proposition 13. Go to hjta.org and please become a member of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. You'll never be sorry you did.
10-4 on amen to that. We'll do it again next week. Thanks, Susan.
Thanks, Susan.
Take care.
That was a fun show. Yes, and again, we are taking out. We're at the end of June. We are wiping out 2020.
Yes, 2020.5.
July 1st starts 2020.5. We are starting over. We're pressing the reset button.
Yes, worldwide on July 4th.
On that. And with that, we're gone.